गुड मॉर्निंग केशरी सर।
Hello, hello, sir.
A very warm welcome to all of you.
I think there must be some technical issue. We will start soon.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Okay, are you able to see my screen? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, actually,
Yes,
there
sir,
was
we
a
are
loss
able to
of
see your
internet
screen.
from the Zoom side, and that's why the problem happened. Okay, so just a moment. Uh, Yesterday we were discussing about the concerns with the electric vehicle system, and then I explained you about the issues like there's an issue of localized pollution because if you penetrate more number of vehicles, then you need more and more energy, so you have to burn more coal. Okay, this is the issue. Then range and anxiety I explained you. Then longer charge time, this I explained you. Then life and cost of the problem related to life and cost, this also I had explained. Okay, and then what is the impact which is going to happen on the grid when you increase number of vehicles. Okay, so that I also explained you in brief. Okay, just a moment. Then I explained to you what are the different possible solutions. Like it is good, like if we go for the charging station which are fed by either solar energy or fuel cells, because both the sources are considered to be the clean and green source of energy. Okay. Then I explained you about like it is good like if we do the energy management, onboard energy management, and utilize the available energy efficiently. Okay. Then second, we have to use higher energy based source. Then battery swapping, the concept I explained to you. It has an issue of infrastructural cost, and the fast charging. I explained like what we do, that we give the higher current to the battery, and so more charge you submit, and so battery gets charged faster. And but here is also the problem that the life of the battery gets affected. Then there are like then we have to think of how we can make the low cost battery technology. Then the issue concerned with the power quality related, like we have to address all the issues with the which are related to the power quality. It could be at the DC bus. When you are going to use at a DC bus, then you have to think of utilizing maybe like ultra capacitor system, flywheels, and maybe like you are interested in compensation at the AC bus side. So there you can use DVR. Okay, uh, running voltage restorers. So, So these are like different situations what we can address. Okay, next. Okay, then very first thing is that when we talk about energy, okay, we have the energy available on board. On board energy available are what? These are the batteries, and fuel cell. It is a liquid fuel cell. And the capacitor is there, and then photovoltaic panel. All are the different energy sources. And when we talk about the off board, then we have grid available, and that could be fed by AC supply. Okay, uh, that could be fed by the power plants or solar plants, maybe the fuel cells. So all those are the externally available energy sources. So we have to think of the energy management at the both end. We have to think for the energy management. Why? Because we don't want to put the impact on the grid, and on board because we want to improve the performance of the grid. So we have to think. Let us talk about the onboard energy management. So the onboard energy sources, as I explained you, that batteries are there, fuel cells are there, ultra capacitor is there, and then photovoltaic panels are there. So actually the situation is that we categorize the energy sources into two categories. One is called power source. One is called power. One is called, like here I am writing. It is power source. Power source, and second one is called energy source. Energy source. These two are the things. Then what is the difference between a power source and an energy source? Okay, power source or energy source. So consider, first thing is that we define the energy source like as kilowatt hour per kg. Okay, it's capacity, specific energy, and specific power for a power source as watt per kg. This is what the definition is. Then what is the difference between a power source and energy source? Suppose that you are running a vehicle. Let's say that this is a vehicle and there's a motor, and this motor requires 20 ampere from the DC bus. Let's say 20 ampere from the DC bus. Okay. So suppose that you are delivering, there's a source which is capable of delivering this 20 ampere of current for longer duration of time, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Okay, depending upon the AH of the battery. Then, if it is able to give it for the longer duration of time, then we say that that is an energy source. Understand? And I use the term for the long, depending upon AH of the battery. Suppose that you are having a battery of 100 AH and you are drawing 20 amperes. So how many hours it can draw? 100 divided by 20. That is, your vehicle can run for the 5 hours. 200 AH, 10 hours. Okay, 50 AH, 2.5 hours. Then the power source is that, what is the power source? The situation with the power source is that, like, your requirement is 20 ampere, okay, continuous for longer duration. But this power source will be even able to give you 40 ampere, 60 ampere, 100 ampere, but it will not be able to give you for very long duration of time. Understand? That will be maybe few seconds, maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds, depending upon what is the size. Understand? So this is the basically difference between the energy source and power source. And from the operation point of view, what is the difference? If you are having an energy source, then what will happen? If the energy source can make your vehicle to run for a longer duration of time, so range of the vehicle will be more. Okay, and the power sources are required for what? Suppose that you are accelerating it. So at the time of acceleration, you need to get the high current. Okay, maybe 2 times higher. Let's say that nominal torque is some 10 Newton meter, and when you are accelerating, you need 20 Newton meter. So let's say that corresponding to 20 Newton meter, the current is 40 ampere. So you will be able to get that 40 ampere during the acceleration. Similarly, when you are decelerating or regenerative braking is taking place, then it will be possible for you to submit the energy recovered to those power sources. Okay. So this is the situation. So we are having the two sources. One can deliver the energy to run for the longer duration, and one source which is capable of delivering sufficient energy, which is able to meet the requirement of the transients. Let's say the peak requirement, or like let's say accelerations. So, but you will see that in none of the sources you will find that those two qualities are there properly. Okay. So what we have to do then? We need to do what we have to do. We have to combine the sources. Understand? We have to combine the sources. So this is, let's say, ultra capacitor, and it has what? It has very high power density. Okay, very high power density. And let's say that we are having a fuel cell, so which is having very high energy density, but power density is very, very low. But if you use in your system the two sources together, the performance of the system will be here, of your supply system, because these two are the part of the supply system. So your supply system will have these two situations. Okay, so your operating point will be here, which is means if you use both fuel cell and ultra capacitor, then you will be able to run your vehicle for a longer duration of time, and also you will be able to meet the requirements of the accelerations, higher current requirement of the acceleration. Okay, so this is what the benefit of using multiple energy sources or multiple sources in supply system. Understand? This is the situation. So this type of arrangement, whenever you, like you see that this arrangement, this diagram here, this diagram what you are observing here, this particular diagram, this is a powertrain, okay, in which you are having a battery, fuel cell or photovoltaic panel. This is connected with a DC bus, and DC bus traction system, voltage source inverter together with the traction motor is connected. Okay, so this is the main line. And then you are using also another source, that is ultra capacitor through this bidirectional converter. Okay, this is a DC to DC converter and connected to the DC bus. Okay, so such type of arrangement is called mixed energy storage system. Okay, or mixed supply system. Objective I explained you. Okay. Okay. So next. Okay. Then next, what you are going to observe is when you will look into a vehicle, you will find two types of configurations will be there. Okay, two types of configurations will be there. One configuration will be that, let's say that you are having a battery, for example, a 12-volt battery. So what you and the terminal voltage is what? 48 volt. Problem is there, like we are having that motors with a higher terminal voltage. Simple meaning of using higher terminal voltage is what? If the terminal voltage is high, so power is what? Let's say VI, AC motor VI cos pi, suppose that. So what will happen in this case, that if the voltage is high, then current you are going to draw is less. So copper losses will be less. Okay, so you keep the terminal voltage of the motor high. Then what is situation with the batteries? Like energy sources are there. These energy sources which are available nowadays, they are capable of delivering high current at even at the lower terminal voltage. Understand? So there is a mismatch between the requirement of the motor and the available terminal voltage of the available energy source. So what we have to do? We have to boost this voltage level. 12 volt to, let's say that this terminal voltage is, bus voltage is 48 volt. Let us consider this is a 48 volt. So how we can do? We will be using 4 number of batteries, such 4 number of batteries connected in series. So that is going to give you 48 volt. This is one solution. Second solution is that people will say that no, I will not use such a situation like it. Rather, what I will do, that I will use 12 volt multiplied by 2 battery, so that is going to be equal to 24 volt, and then we will be boosting it to higher terminal voltage 48 volt. Understand? This is the situation. But the problem is here. What is the problem? Suppose that you was having a 12 volt battery, 4 in numbers, and each is 100 Ah. So what is the charge available here? That is 400 Ah coulomb. Okay, Ah. So unit is coulomb for that. And similarly, what is the total charge available here? It is only 200 Ah. Okay. You will not understand the situation here, but the situation I explain you. Each battery is of what? 100 Ah. 100, each battery is of 100 Ah. And let us consider that your motor requires 20 ampere from the DC. 20 ampere. So under when you have connected the series batteries, how many hours your battery can serve? 100 Ah divided by 20 equal to how much? It is 5 hours. Understand? This is the 5 hours it will be running. Let us come here. In this case, the current requirement is what? 20 ampere. Again, here same ampere. But what you have done that you have the battery terminal, you have made here 24 volt, and the boost is 2 times higher. Understand? So 2 times higher means if the current is 20 ampere, what will the current on this side? It will be 40 ampere. 40 amperes. So the AH of the battery, it is 100 Ah divided by 40. So you are going to run your vehicle 2.5 hours. Understand? So there's a difference. You cannot meet the performance. Problem is there. You cannot meet the performance. So to meet the performance, what you have to do? You have to increase this AH of the battery. Each of the battery, what you have connected, 12 volt multiplied. So in case of 100 Ah, you have to use what? 200 Ah battery. So total available charge here is also 400 Ah. Then it is possible that you can ensure the same performance. Understand? Now, then the question arises, okay, when we are using the battery, it is always good to use the series connected batteries. This is the first situation. Then where we will be using these bidirectional converters? Okay, where we are going to use these bidirectional converters or DC to DC converters. Understand? This in general a power electronic circuit. So we will be using these power electronic circuitry, and for those sources, output characteristic. Let's say this is for a photovoltaic panel. Okay, and characteristic for okay, and so we will be using this boost converter or bidirectional converter on okay or power electronic circuit to those cases where the output characteristic of the source, this is the characteristic of what? This one is a characteristic of a photovoltaic panel. Okay, PV panel. So we know that its IV characteristic is there. This is I, and this one is V characteristic. It is like this. If solar insolation changes, it will go down. So it is varying. Output characteristic of the source is varying. So what we have to do, we always have to follow the maximum power point. So because we need to maintain this, follow this maximum power point, so we need some circuital arrangement. That could be a boost converter. Yeah. So under this situation, it is compulsory for us that we have to use a power electronic circuit arrangement or boost converter. And similarly, for the case of fuel cell, when it is loaded, okay, its terminal voltage is low. Okay, when it is lightly loaded, when the load is low, then its terminal voltage is high. You see, this is the high terminal voltage. But what we need to do, we have to maintain this particular, okay, this particular operating point. So because we need to maintain a particular operating point, so we have to use some circuital arrangement, boost converter. Understand? This is so under such a situation, we have to use boost converters. Now, then where to use bidirectional converter? Okay. Like you see, this is one example. Previously also I have shown this diagram. So we'll be using, suppose that ultra capacitor is there. Okay. So and this fuels, this is battery fuel cell or photovoltaic panel is there in the main power line. Okay. So in this case, what happens? Suppose that you are accelerating. So when you are accelerating, you have a requirement of high current. I will show you this again. Okay. So at that time, the current should flow from here. Understand? It should flow. It should be given by the ultra capacitor. Okay. And whenever you are regenerating, then the current should be submitted back to the ultra capacitor. And everything should be in a controlled manner. So we have to use a bidirectional. bidirectional converter here. One thing is there. Another thing is that if you see that, suppose that you are accelerating. So what will happen to this particular voltage? If you accelerate, this voltage, DC link voltage, DC link, okay, DC link is going to drop down. Okay, this VDC link is going to drop down. Huh? So what will happen? You want to maintain this voltage, so you will be giving the voltage from this energy from this capacitor. And what is the energy stored in the capacitor? 1 by half C V square. Okay, so the moment it will start transferring its energy, what will happen? That this voltage is going to drop down, voltage across the ultra capacitor. And if you want to submit that maximum which is possible, you have to maintain this terminal voltage. So that's why even though the voltage of this ultra capacitor, when it is submitting the energy, is dropping, you, with the help of this bidirectional converter, you have to maintain this voltage. Okay, so that's why the use of converter is necessary here. Another thing is that the gain in this case we kept at around, we generally kept at unity gain, means whatever the bus voltage will be there, whatever the bus voltage is there, let's say that the DC bus voltage is 48 volt. Okay, so this ultra capacitor will be also use of 48 volt. So when the drop in the voltage will be there, it will go down. So this voltage is higher, so you will be able to submit the energy. So this is going to work as what? A buck converter in this side. Okay. Second thing is that when you take the regeneration, what will happen? This voltage will be going higher. Let's say that it becomes 56 volt. When you regenerate, okay, regeneration is taking place. Regeneration is taking place. Regeneration is taking place. So in the system, this voltage will be higher and this side voltage is low. So it will act like what? Sorry, this side it was here. It has to boost. Okay, so this side it was boost, and from this side it is pump, because it has to submit to the lower voltage. So this is the reason. So under this situation, it is compulsory for you that you must use a power electronic circuit. Otherwise, you do not have any chance. Okay. Okay. Let us understand this situation. Use of ultra capacitor. Why we have used this ultra capacitor? Okay, what is the necessity here? And what is the necessity of using this ultra capacitor? Okay, we all know that the life of a battery is defined in terms of a cycle. Okay, let's say that you are having a battery which is having a life cycle of, let's say, 1,000 cycles. Understand? What is the meaning of 1,000 cycle? Meaning of 1,000 cycle is, suppose that this is a battery, correct? So what you do that you completely charge your battery, okay, completely charge your battery, and then completely discharge your battery. You understand? Let's say that this is zero line. This is 100% charge, 100% of charge, and this is zero. Let's say that example 0% of charge. Okay. So this is fully charged and fully discharged. And again, what you are going to do? You are going to make it fully charged. So what is the one cycle? This is one complete cycle. Okay, one full charge and one full discharge is one cycle. So like this, let's say that your battery can last for 1,000 cycles. Okay, 1,000 cycles. Now, suppose that by any means you make some arrangement that what happens that in a one day you are able to complete these 1,000 cycles, complete charge and complete discharge by any way. Okay, so you will lose your battery in one day. If you are able to finish this 3,000 cycles, 1,000 cycles say here, in 4 years your battery will last for 4 years. In 2 years, then your battery will last for 2 years. Okay, so what we are learning here, that ripples, this is appearing as a ripple in the battery. Okay, this is what is the ripple. So we should not allow such type of ripple into the battery. We should not allow this one. Okay, so why this ripple is appearing? Suppose that this is the battery current. Okay, this is the battery current. Okay, so this is the load requirement is this one. Now what happens? Now what happens that you want to accelerate. So when you are accelerating, what will happen? That the load current requirement is increased. See, This is load current requirement is increasing. So because load current requirement is increasing, so from where you will be getting? Suppose that you are at here, you are not using ultra capacitor, anything, only the battery line is there. So in that case, the current will be drawn from the battery. Okay, current will be drawn from the battery. And once you have acceleration is over, then what will happen? The load current requirement is going to reduce. So again, your battery will get it, battery current will get into its natural position. So you see that this is a ripple which is appearing in the battery. Ripple which is appearing in the battery. So this is ripples also count to the life cycle. Understand? It is not a fully discharge. Okay, it is a partial discharge there, but definitely it is a percentage of the ripple, so it counts. So we never allow this. Okay, so what to do if you want to extend the life of the battery? Then what we do that we use some circuitry arrangement like an ultra capacitor, a power source. So what will happen when you use a power source ultra capacitor? So what will happen, because the impedance of this ultra capacitor is much lower. Understand? First thing is that. Second thing is that you have maintained this at the same voltage level. So gain is unity. So unity gain is there. So immediately what is possible that because you have maintained this unity, this voltage is going to get down. So immediately what will happen, because the impedance of this ultra capacitor is low, so its tendency will be to submit the energy fast. Okay. So you started operating your converter. So in this case, what will happen is, see that your ultra capacitor starts giving the current. So this was the load current. So what you are, from where you are getting that excess current, you are getting that excess current from the ultra capacitor. Understand? Ultra capacitor, what the current is there. So because you are getting this current from the ultra capacitor excess current, so you are not consuming any, so sorry, not this diagram. Just a minute. Let me copy it. This was a load current. Okay. So because of that, because now you are providing the current from the ultra capacitor, so battery current is, you're not taking the current from the battery. Then you are drawing only the nominal current. All the peak currents are being drawn from the ultra capacitor. So under this situation, you will see that the battery current almost remains constant. Okay. So you have stopped the ripple into the battery. So life of the battery is extending. Getting extended. Why? Because you have not given any ripple into the, allowed any ripple into the battery. So yesterday someone has raised the question that about this ultra capacitor, how we do the management here, energy management. So this is the answer, like what we can do. Here you see that we are using ultra capacitor. You can use flywheel arrangements also. Okay, this ultra capacitor is using ultra capacitor means we are doing static polarization, and if you use a flywheel, then you say that you're making dynamic polarization. Okay. Okay. So next, then let us talk about the charging. What exactly is the battery charging? Because we talk about the management, but the thing is that we have to measure energy is you require to run the vehicle is coming from the battery. So you have, and always you need to charge the battery. With the regeneration, you cannot charge the battery. Okay, you can just extend the range of the vehicle a little bit. So battery charging is basically, it is a process of submission of energy to the battery. This is by forcing current into it, by forcing current into the battery. Okay, you cannot submit the energy easily, so you have to push it there. Okay, so this is this process of submission of energy to a battery by forcing current into it is called charging. Then you would have listened that about the term fast charging. Then what is the fast charging? See, let's say that we have a capacity. I explained to you that the capacity, like capacity of the battery capacity of the battery is represented in terms of Ah, ampere hour. Okay, so it is said that in normal, like when we charge the battery at C by 10 rate, this is rate C by 10 rate. What is C by 10 rate? Suppose that you are having a battery of 100 Ah, okay, then C by 10 is 10 ampere. So if you are charging the battery with 10 ampere continuously, okay, then it is termed as C by 10 rate. First thing is that, and how much time it will take? Sorry, no, it's 10 hours. Okay, 10 ampere. So if you are, so this is 10 ampere current. Okay, so by 10 ampere, if you charge, so how much time it is taking? It is going to take under this situation. This is Ah, 10 hours to charge the battery. Now, if you want to speed up, then what you will be doing? You will increase this value by k times. Understand? K is greater than 1. Maybe like it would be 1.1, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 10, 10 C by 10. It is said that 1 C by 10, 2 C by 10, 3 C by 10, 4 C by 10. So this K, okay, is called a degree, it represents the degree of fastness and how fast you are charging the battery, okay, as compared to the normal charging. So when you say that, okay, it is 2 C by 10, so if you are charging it 2 times faster than the normal charging, understand? And how much time it will take then? Earlier it was taking 10 hours, so it will take now 5 hours. If you charge at, let's say, 5 C by 10, understand? So it is how much it will take? It will take 2 hours. If you charge the battery 10 C by 10, this is 10, this is just C. So you will be able to charge the battery in 1 hour. Understand? This is the situation. So this is what the fastness of the charging. So the definition of fast charging was injection of charging current, the charging current into a battery to be charged at a rate higher than C by 10, that is normal charging, is termed as faster charging. Understand? Okay. Then there are different levels of charging. We know so many things about it. So there are level 1 charging, level 2 charging, level 3 charging, like this. Understand? So this level like level 1 charging. Okay. This is basically onboard charger. The charging will be there inside the charger can be there inside your vehicle. Okay. This is first thing is that. Then you can then what is happening that in this situation the cable will be coming out from the vehicle and you can connect that cable into the grid. Okay, socket and you can get it charged and the generally power for this case is around 2 kilowatt up to 2 kilowatt, and then it takes 4 hours to 10 hours, 11 hours. Then level 2 charging is what it is around. It is you can say it will be either single phase or it could be 3 phase. It will be using supply. Okay, and then it can be at your home, but it is at your home is dedicated charging point should be there. Okay, or in the public places it will be there, and the power can be maximum up to 19 kilowatt here. Okay, and so according to 19 kilowatts, so the charging time will vary from 6 hours to 1 hour. Understand? Similarly, then we have a level 3 of charging. Then it is considered as a DC fast charging also. Here you see that in this case, terminal voltage is increasing. Voltage is increasing. Huh? This is case, the phase is this, supply will be there, and in this situation you are having the charging station. Okay, and the range 50 kilowatt, and the charging time is 0.2 hours to means 10, around 15 minutes to 1 hour. But remember that these are some specifications. But let's say suppose that you want to make a e-rickshaw charging station in which only, let's say that 4 rickshaws are required to be charged. You have a facility of that. So it is not necessary that it will be of 50 kilowatt. Understand? So you have to size it, that how much current delivery you want. Let's say that you want 30 ampere of delivery, and let's say the rickshaw has the 48 volt, and when you are charging, you need to maintain 56 volt. So 56 multiplied by 30 amperes. So you see that 1.68 multiplied by 4. So 6.4 means around 7 kilowatt. Around 7 kilowatt charging. So you see that the power level is falling in this range. But you have used it like this situation. So that type of charging will be falling under this category. Your requirement. So it depends like that. You have a charging station definitely at outside, but it is falling under the category of the 7 kilowatt supply. Okay. Then what are the different types of charging? Then types of charging are what? It could be static or it could be dynamic charging. It could be static charging and it could be dynamic charging. So when we say static charging, when both the vehicle and the charging station or the charging point, the two are stationary in nature, so it will be static charging. It could be dynamic charging. Could be, you see that through the wire. This is through the wire. Okay, through the wire, or it could be wireless. Like you see that one coil is like this, and on the ground, this is on the ground. Okay, and another coil is just above the ground, inside the vehicle, and another coil is inside the vehicle. Okay, it's a magnetic vehicle. This is a wheel, and this is okay, inside the vehicle. So they are able to transfer the energy without any contact. So this is called contact-based charging or wireless charging. But in both the cases, you see that your charging point vehicle two are stationary in nature. Okay, so this is called static charging. Then what is dynamic charging? In dynamic charging, you will see that that the coils are there which are buried into the ground. Here you see that these are the coils which are buried into the ground. Okay. So whenever a vehicle is passing over these coils, then when this coil comes into the vicinity of this ground coil, let's say that this is the ground coil, this is the ground coil, and this one is the coil with the vehicle. Okay. So whenever this is moving, and whenever this will come in the vicinity of this coil, it will get activated, it will start supplying energy. Whenever this coil, coil in the vehicle will come into the vicinity of this ground coil, it will start supplying the energy. This is what the dynamic charging. It could be inductive in nature, and it could be capacitive in nature. This could be capacitive in nature. Okay. Then what is the capacitive charging here? You can see here, just I'm zooming this diagram. This is an example of a Kappa bus. So this is this technology developed in China. Okay. Capacitor. And what is the situation here? If you see here, you see here on the top, there is a pantograph. This is a pantograph. So whenever the bus comes at the charging stop, then this pantograph lifts up and it gets connected. Here you see that the wires are there. It gets connected with this supply. Okay, and receive the energy in bulk. And what is there inside this vehicle? Ultra capacitors are there. Because the impedance is very low, it is possible for you that you can submit a lot amount of energy immediately. Okay, in a burst. And slowly what you will be doing, you will be discharging that energy to the onboard battery. Okay, and but the sizing of battery and the capacity and the ultra capacitor is in such a way that you will be able to reach to the next charging station and next stoppage of the vehicle with that much of charge. Okay, so you do the sizing accordingly. So this is what the capacitive charging is there. Okay, then what are the different types of charging? The types of charging are there. You can make the continuous flow of the, like you can give the continuous current. Like you see that here you are providing the continuous current to the, forcing the continuous current into the battery. So this is called constant current charge. And here you can see that you are maintaining a constant voltage here. This is a constant voltage you are maintaining. So this is called CV charging. Means suppose that you are having a 48 volt battery. So what you do that you maintain the maximum permissible, that is 56 volt constantly across the battery to charge it. So what will happen? At the beginning it is going to take higher current and then slowly it will reduce. Okay, so this type of charging, it is called constant voltage charging. Then third type of charging is called constant current, constant voltage charging. This is CC, and this one is constant voltage charging, constant current charging and constant voltage charging. Okay, this is frequently used, very frequently used, this type of charging. Okay. Okay. Then next type of charging is what? Pulse charging. Pulse charging. Okay. And then another one is reflex charging. What is the benefit of this using this pulse charging? One thing is that this type of charging is used for the temperature regulation. And second thing is that when we go for the pulse charging, there are so many problems. Means like, so we solve the problem. Like there's a, if you would have seen that with the lead acid battery, there's a problem of formation of sulfation issue is there. Okay, so when the sulfation problem occurs in a battery, lead acid battery, you lose the capacity of the cell. Similarly, in case of a lithium-ion battery, the dendrites are formed. Okay, which is the two electrodes. So finally, the formation of the dendrite crystal increases, and then what happens that you generally start the terminals. So the capacity reduces finally, slowly it reduces. So that is also not allowed. So this pulse charging solves the problem of sulfation, and reflex charging also helps in avoiding the problem of sulfation and dendrite formation. Okay, dendrite crystal formation. Dendrite crystal formation issue is in lithium-ion battery. Okay. Then what is the problem? Like when you go for the making a faster charging of the battery, you will see that just look onto this axis, huh? Here x-axis. What is happening here? Okay. Here you can see what is happening here. That we are giving that, you see that x is that k, yeah? That we are giving 2C by 10, 4C by 10, 6C by 10, 8C by 10. So you are increasing the magnitude of the current as compared to the normal charging. Understand? So when you increase the current, what will happen? That you are increasing the charge emission. So state of charge is increasing gradually. But there's the impact on the temperature of the battery. This side it is the temperature, you can see here. Okay, here it is the temperature. Here it is the temperature of the battery. So you see that as you increase the charging current, the battery temperature rises. Okay. So what is the impact? And shall we allow the rise in the temperature or not? Okay. The question is here. So the question is that it is not good for the life of the battery. Why? You can see another plot here. This second plot I did for you. Sorry. The second plot you see. So here you are able to see that we are having the operating temperature of the battery because you are increasing. Suppose that you are charging the battery with higher current, so temperature is going to rise. Suppose that you are driving the vehicle, motor is running, you are drawing the continuously current from the battery, so the battery temperature is going to rise. But the thing is that what you can do here, suppose that you are running the vehicle, so at that time you have to draw the current. You cannot control that one. Okay, because you need to meet some torque. So under such a situation, it is good for you that if you maintain the temperature of the battery through some cooling arrangement. Understand? Through some cooling arrangement. If you maintain that, then that is good. Okay. So just observe here, and similarly, when you're charging it, then you have all the possibilities. You can use some cooling arrangement. Okay, but when you're using cooling arrangement, you have to use some extra infrastructure. There are other possibilities that to the control you can ensure that the operating temperature of the battery is within a particular range. Okay. So what is the impact? if you operate, you can see here that the operating temperature 20 degree, 30 degree, 40, 50, 60, 80. Okay, and the life is what? 60 month, 50 month, 40 month, 30 month, 20 and 10 month. So you can see here, suppose that you operate your battery at 25 degrees Celsius, then it is possible that your battery can last for 60 months, means 5 years. Understand? But on the other way, if you operate your battery to the maximum permissible around 60, you see that 60 degrees Celsius, you go here, you can see here that it is around 9 months, which is less than a year. So depending upon what is the operating temperature, the life of the battery. Understand? If the operating temperature is higher, then life of the battery will be lesser. Okay, and if the operating temperature is lower, then the life of the battery will be more. So we have to decide. So it is like when you do the fast charging, we have to ensure that the battery temperature should be regulated. Okay, it should be regulated, and it should not. Battery temperature should be regulated simply. And how to regulate the battery temperature? The two situation cases, you can give make the cooling arrangement. This cooling arrangement is there, or you can use pulse or reflex charging. Understand? You can use pulse or reflex charging. Then it will be possible for you that you can ensure the regulation of the battery temperature. Okay. Okay. Then what is the pulse charging and the reflex charging? Because you want to make the temperature regulation. So in pulse charging, you can see that okay, it is very good to see here. Observe here, please. That one current is there here, it is continuously you are giving. When you are giving that this continuous current, it's AC by 10, that is higher than the normal charging. Your battery temperature is rising. You see? Battery temperature is rising. Understand? When you give this, you make continuous current. Understand? But this is not allowed. So what we have to do, we have to do some arrangement like a SSS control, and there we will be setting upper band and the lower band of the temperature. So what is the upper band? You see that when the temperature is rising, and the moment it reaches to a maximum set value, then what will happen? You will stop charging. You see that you are stopping charging. You are stopping charging here. Stopping charging. So due to this, what will happen? That the temperature will start falling. Understand? And then again, once it reaches to a minimum value, set minimum value, then it starts, you again start charging, so temperature start rising. Again, when it reaches to the final value, it will come down. So you keep on regulating the temperature. So this is one thing. Second thing is that you can see the case of reflex charging. Here, pulse charging case is same. If you make the continuous type of continuous charging like this, then what will happen? The battery temperature is going to rise. Okay, and it will settle to the steady state value. So, but you don't want it. You don't want it. So, what we have to do then? Here again, when the temperature is set rise to the maximum limit here, this is one limit. Okay, then we stop the charging, and then we discharge the battery. We discharge the battery. You see that negative pulse? We discharge the battery for a very short duration of time. So when you are discharging, whether you are charging or discharging, in both the cases, battery temperature is going to rise. So you see that the battery temperature is rising. So you set a dual band there. And then once that you reach the maximum in the discharging level, then you stop the charging. Okay? Discharging, charging, whatever. So then the battery temperature falls down. Then again, the same situation repeats. So you are able to control the battery temperature. So you're doing this, so the problem of suppression is getting solved. Okay, then dendrite formation is getting solved. So these two problems related with the chemistry of the battery getting solved here. Okay. Now, so this is the issue, like how you are going to address this one. Okay. Now then, when we talk about the charging of the battery, you have seen that we want to regulate the temperature because it is required. You don't want to the battery temperature. Okay. So what you have to do, you see that in this case, when the 2.6 FA, like this is the case of a 26 AH battery. Okay, 12 volt, 26 AH battery. This is the case of 12 volt 26 mAh battery. Okay, so what is the nominal current? It will be C by 10. Means what is the C by 10 value? It is 2.6 ampere. So when you are giving this current, so you will see that battery temperature is not rising to the set limit. Understand? Normal charging. So this is the normal charging corresponds to the whatever the charge is being submitted. Okay, is then what you do that you increase the current, charging current. Let's say that we are increasing the current to how much? Here you see that 4.55. So it is almost around 2 times, just less than 2 times you can say. So what is happening here? But because you have increased the current, so the battery temperature rise to the set level. So you have to stop the charging and then it comes down, temperature falls down, and then again it is rising and falling. So temperature is regulated. But one issue that here what the charge was submitted, this is current and this is time, IT. This is basically charge area under curve. Okay. So what the area under curve is here and what is here, you will see that for the same duration of time, maybe that charge total charge submitted is less. Now, if you increase further more current, let's say 7.5 ampere, okay, it is almost around 2. Around 3 times. Okay, so you can see that the width of this pulse, charging pulse, is reduced. So it means what? Area under curve is also reduced. Okay, area under curve is also reduced. Area under curve is reduced. So the total amount of charge which is submitted is reducing. So you can see the plot. Like in this region from here to here, okay, here to here, you can see that you are increasing the battery current, but the current is not sufficient to raise the battery temperature to the set. Okay, so this we have given as a reason of operation of the battery. Then what happens now? You are increasing that you are ensuring the temperature regulation with the help of pulse charging. So what will happen as you keep on increasing the current? What will happen that the magnitude of the charge which is submitted is going to reduce. So this is reducing here. You can see here. Then another situation, you are able to see this diagram. This line corresponds to the charge which is submitted under that. Just a moment. Under this C by 10 situation. Okay, if you're falling below, then it is called this is called that the charge which is submitted is less than the normal charging. So this is the name is given C by okay, region C. So region A, this is B and C. B and C are termed as the control region of operation of the battery. Okay, so we have to take care of this one. Okay, so I hope you understand that what is the charging here. Okay, different region of operation. So then you can enable the fast charging definitely. So what you have to do, you have to increase that temperature reference because the reference was set there. So if you increase the reference, this curve will shift up, shift up, shift up. So what was the normal charging here? You can see here the temperature regulation increases. You can see that the temperature regulation because of this one, the total charge which is submitted is increasing. So you can ensure that the fast charge. So in our lab, we are able to get it in 4 hours, 15 minutes in place of 10 hours of charge. Okay. So this is the situation. So the rest, rest of this portion, I will explain you next class. Okay. So this curve I will be explaining next class. So or better I say that when you do such type of charging, where the temperature regulation is ensured, it is possible that you can improve the state of health of the battery. You see, state of health. Then you can improve the number of cycles. You see that when you use the temperature unregulated, so 4,000 cycles. When you are regulating the temperature, it is possible that you can double the number of cycles. Okay. So this is a benefit of using temperature regulation. So we have to always either use cooling arrangement or any control arrangement, but you have to regulate this. Then only it is possible that you can improve the life of the battery, because two things are just inversely proportional: temperature and the charge submitted. Is the temperature, charge because we are ensuring regulation, so charge submitted will be less. Okay, so just inversely proportional there. Okay, so I stop this presentation here. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be discussing about the motors. Okay, and then in next two classes I will be discussing about the motor and the motor control. And then, let me see what are the questions with the chat. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, chats are there. So I just see one by one questions like what you have asked. You tell about constant current charging and constant voltage. Okay, I just from the top I start very fast. Okay, okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, session starts here. Okay, okay. Mhm. Okay. Please repeat the difference between power and energy source. Okay, actually, I explained you that power source has the capability of delivering very high current for a very short duration of time. Okay, and energy source has the capability of delivering nominal current for a longer duration of time. Normal current for a longer duration of time. This is the difference between power and energy source. Um, okay, short, please. Yes, sir. Okay. Please elaborate on the difference of energy. Okay, energy between energy and power energy system. Difference between energy and power energy. Same thing. Okay, volume. Sorry, I cannot increase here. Okay. Voice problem means. And next question is that voltage source inverter. Neerajli, can you say what you was willing to ask about voltage source inverter? Okay, then voltage source inverter. Thanks. So please remember need of bidirectional converter and ultra capacitor. See, I explain you that bidirectional because in case of ultra capacitor, when the acceleration is taking place, you need to submit the energy. When regeneration is taking place, so bus voltage is higher, so you have to recover the energy. So you must have a converter which will be able to facilitate the power flow in the both direction. That's why we need a bidirectional converter. An ultra capacitor because it has a capability of delivering very high amount of current in a short duration of time. So you reduces the requirement of the current from the battery. Okay, and then my okay. So okay. What is the difference between what is the difference when we use batteries in series and when you use boost converter? Please repeat with the DC link voltage reduces. See, I explained you that when you use the battery in series, so the current what is required, let's say 20 ampere current is required for the traction purpose and 100 Ah battery is there. So how much hour you can run your battery? 100 divided by 5, 20, so 5 hours you can run. But if you use a boost converter in between, let's say that you don't use that 4 number of batteries, just two numbers of batteries, so 12 or 24 volts, and the boosting is 2 times. Again, traction current is 20 ampere, but this side, how much current you are drawing from the battery? Okay, each battery 40 ampere. 100 Ah battery, 40 ampere. Understand? So what will happen to this case? So simply the 100 divided by 40 is 2.5. So you will be able to run for 2.5 hours. Understand? And of course, one more issue is there. Just a moment. Just a moment. Like if you see, oh, sorry, it is stopped. I have to restart my open board. See, we have the two situations. One is what? That we are drawing the, it is 100, 20 ampere of current. 20 ampere of current from which battery? 100 Ah battery. So what is the C by 10 of this one? So you just divide by C by 10 is what? 10 ampere, C by 10. So you are discharging it at 2C by 10. So maybe the characteristic under that situation will be something like this. When you want to draw, when you have connected two batteries only and then you have used 40, you are drawing 40 ampere from the battery because you have boosted it 2 times. So the current will be also increased. So what is that now? Now your capacity is what? It is 4C by 10. So remember that when you are discharging it 4C by 10, the situation will be something like this. Understand? Let me make it a bit and so for the same load current, you can see that the terminal voltage in one case is radio this one, and in the second case when you use the boost converter is dropped. Okay, you see that in the second case it is dropped. You need to boost more. Understand? And please remember that you cannot, if it is actually a 48 volt, you cannot go below 37 volt. So this is the problem. So with the battery, we don't use such type of arrangement. Okay, what is this? This is terminal voltage of the battery, and this is the current which is being drawn from the battery. Understand? And this is the IV characteristic of the battery. This is for 2C by 10 discharge, and this one is for 4C by 10. If you draw more current, maybe like you will be you will not be able to deliver the required tractive power. This is the issue. Okay, let me see another one. Sorry, I'm taking more time, but I have to answer if someone has asked. Where is that? Chats, no? I think this okay. Where I was? Which parameters of? So many questions. It will charge the battery. Okay. Series connected is okay. This I explained you. Which controller is suitable for EMS, means energy management system, battery and ultra capacitor? See, generally we go for interleaved converter, push converter, interleaved bidirectional converter. Interleaved, why? Because you have to share more current. So it is, and if the current rating increases, cost of the switches increases. And the other benefit of the interleaved converter is that ripples are cancelled or less ripple as compared to the normal converter. How K is increased? This you have to increase through your control. Okay, what exactly the regeneration? It is a regenerative braking. It will change the charge the battery, or it will increase the. Definitely, it will charge the battery. Okay, if you submit the energy into that one, and but battery has a limitation. You cannot submit whole of the energy. Okay, so as I explained you that it will count a charge and discharge one cycle. So here you are charging it. So your charging cycle is getting count, and charging is necessary, but you cannot charge whole amount of the regeneration. Submit whole of the energy. You have to bypass that one. Okay. So can you tell about constant current charging and constant voltage charging? Constant current, we inject constant current, and in constant voltage charging, we maintain that constant voltage charge. I explained that one. Can you please tell a constant current charging? Okay, this if we charge any battery with 50 kilowatt, then it is safe. See, safety is another concern. I explained you that when you increase the charging current, the temperature is rising. Okay, so if you are able to maintain that charging current, means a temperature within the 60 degree of limit, it is safe. If you are not able to maintain, then it is not safe. Okay, can you suggest any IC? Okay, CCCV charging. You just search on the internet that about the code of this one. Okay, this IC, we did not use any IC. Rather, we directly use the microcontrollers to realize the control. Difference between pulse and reflex charging. I explained you that in reflex charging we have a we discharge the battery for a short duration of time. Okay, how can we measure SOC practically? Like we basically use the curve fitting method. Okay, there are some battery parameters, and based on that, it is possible that we can use the SOC. But in any case, at the time I'm taking more time. Is it, like I will explain you tomorrow. We have actually I equal to dq over dt. So you can use q is equal to integral I dt. So we take the help of Coulomb counting method. This is one of the method. of SOC charging, and we discretize that equation, and then from that it is possible with the help of microcontroller we can measure it. Which parameters are considered in energy management? Of course, we have to manage that terminal voltage, state of the charge of the battery voltage, this terminal voltage, what the current is flowing, you have to take care. Which electrical mechanical parameter is considered in energy management? See, electrical parameters, you have to basically we see the current, and then electrical and mechanical parameter is considered. See, mechanical parameter, regeneration is taking place, so 1 by half j omega square energy will be stored. So moment of inertia is very, very important for us. How much energy is getting stored, and because we are going to recover that energy. And electrical energy, that how much energy you can store in the capacitor. So 1 by half CV square. Okay, so that capacity is needed. What happens when area of charging reduces? So when the area of charging is reducing, then the total charge submitted is reduced. Okay, I will share this video. Already video is getting recorded. That can be shared with you. You suggest book reference. You can use Ms. Iqbal Hussain books. Okay, PPT will be shared. Which type of charging is preferred currently? See, CCCV charging is good to use always. What is which type of charging is USED? For USED means, Ketan, can you say something? What is USED? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. So I think I answered all. So in any case, if you have more questions, you can call me. No issue. I'm typing my number: 521442797. Okay, this is my number. So you can call me. There is no issue. I will answer this. Okay. Okay. If there is any question, you can call me or mail me. Okay. Harshal is there. Harshal? How to disconnect it? Harshal, can you take over the control? Okay. So thank you